Everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon to launch the Professional Insights Programme for 2021-22. My name's Donal McRandall. I'm the current RSUA President. The Professional Insights Programme is delivered in partnership in Belfast with Belfast's two schools of architecture. The purpose of the programme is to give undergraduate students an initial understanding of the real-life work of an architect. This will help you better connect your current studies to your future professional life. The programme is a mandatory requirement for second-year students studying at Queen's and at Ulster University. And the programme aims to provide an insight into on-site activity, interaction between clients, users, and architects, working with other professionals, planning or building control regulations, resourcing and business administration, winning work and or procurement, and the process of materials selection. There will be some time for Q&A at the end of the event, and I'm going to pass over for Kieran to tell you a bit about the RSUA and the programme itself. So, thank you.
Thanks very much, Donal. My name is Kieran Fox. I'm the director of RSUA, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a background to RSUA's role, and I suppose also what we're doing and what we'd like to do for our student members. So just to put the Professional Insights Programme in a little bit of context, and then we'll get into the main meat of today's session, which is about pairing you up with an architect, and we'll just run through the details of that. The key thing I suppose I wanted to stress was RSUA as the professional body for architects in Northern Ireland is focused on how do we encourage good quality architecture that improves the lives of people who live here. That's our mission, and we are set up as a charity, and ultimately what we try and do is bring architects together to share and to learn together, but also to have a united voice. And I suppose at the very heart of our work is the view that whilst an individual architect can be really influential through their own work, through their own advocacy, when all of the architects of Northern Ireland come together, we can have an even more powerful voice. And that is certainly at the core of everything we do. And we're at the moment trying to develop policies and work with government to change things for the better. This is a beautiful leafy shot of our building at 2 Mount Charles, and hopefully all of you will have the opportunity to call in at some point for some reason, if only even to browse the bookshop at some point. So why join RSUA and RIBA? And I say both because if you're based in Northern Ireland, you are automatically a joint member of both RSUA and RIBA, so you get 2 for the price of 1. And the simple thing is, why not? It's free, you may as well, and you get access to both resources and benefits that are hopefully of some use to you. So I would just recommend for those of you who haven't yet got round to it to utilize the free membership, sign up for it. Takes only a few minutes to do so, and that is the link which Jude can also put in the chat if she gets an opportunity to after the presentation. Next up, just some of the benefits of student membership, and the benefits are really twofold: those that are provided by RIBA and those that are provided by RSUA. So there are various projects that you can learn from and look at the analysis provided by RIBA, and you can get some fresh perspectives. Next over. A big part is really about growing that network, the opportunity to meet with other students, but also with architects and others who are involved in trying to deliver the built environment. Both RSUA and RIBA really want to put the success of students at the heart of things, and we look to celebrate academic excellence in architecture. And then some very simple things that are worthwhile hopefully getting engaged with. You will get a discount by the fact that you're a student. You'll get a discount in the RIBA bookshop at 2 Mount Charles, the office that was just shown there. And also you get a free Perspective magazine, which is the RSUA's publication, which comes out every second month. It won't be sent to you. You have to call in and get it. But if you have your student ID, you get it for free. So I would encourage you all, if you get a chance to call past the office and pick up your copy whenever it comes out. It's a really good, it provides a really good overview of what's happening, what projects are in progress, and what projects have just been complete, with details of architect accounts and also some independent reviewers. So what we have been focused on in RSUA in the last few years is trying to develop an engagement point with students throughout the duration of their time in university, and we're keen to expand on this. And I should say today, if there's an opportunity, or if you feel there's something RSUA can do for students, or something more RSUA can do, please do let us know. We're always looking for new opportunities and a sort of a chance to improve our engagement with students. Year one is mainly about welcoming students into their studies and letting them know that RSUA exists. Year two, we have this, which is the Professional Insights Programme. Year three, we have the Alan Barnes Travel Scholarship, which is a scholarship for normally 1 or 2 students to go and travel the world, somewhere in the world at least, and report back on their adventure. We also have the President's Bronze Medal, where Donal will pick another judge and will identify the best piece of work undertaken by a third-year architecture student in Northern Ireland in the particular year. And then beyond that, we have the all-important year after you complete your undergraduate studies and are out in the workplace. And we have the RSUA Commitments to Fair Pay for Part 1 graduates. And this was a direct response from where we were talking to students, and I asked the question of it was in a real lecture theatre, what's the one thing that RSUA could do? And of course, all the students sat in silence for a good sort of solid few minutes, and eventually I told them I wasn't leaving until somebody said something, and somebody eventually put their hand up and said, yes, I would like RSUA to get involved with how graduates are being treated, because at times it's not always the best. So we in response to that, put together this set of commitments, and now we have I think it's 85 practices signed up to this set of commitments, and it's definitely helped raise the bar. So again, keep those sorts of things in mind. And also you get to go along to CPD, continuous professional development events, for free where there are spaces. And then just to finish off, for part 2 and then into part 3, we do have the Silver Medal, which is the President's recognition of the best work at postgraduate. And then we have a Preparing for Practice event, which is really a pre-exam event to help students get ready for their part 3 exam. And then to finish it all off, something which we introduced only maybe 3 years ago now, is the New Architects Party, where we celebrate those architects who have passed their part 3 exams, and that will be coming up actually very soon. So that gives you a quick overview of sort of the touch points with RSUA over your time in university. And then of course we have other initiatives and events which are open to students, but also open to everybody. And I would encourage you to look out for these and get involved whenever the invitation comes through. So the Building Inspiration Lecture, we try and get a speaker of international renown to come to Belfast. Architecture Night, which is, hopefully some of you made it there to the recent one in the Banana Block, We try and take a really interesting venue every year, somewhere different, and celebrate students, celebrate early career architects, and also celebrate people who aren't architects but who have had a big bearing or influence positively on the built environment. The perfectly proportioned quiz of architecture and other things. I think we have a date for it in February. Always very popular, and it's sort of a combination of quiz and task challenge. And we get a lovely combination of or mix of students and architects in practice attending it, as well as others actually. We are working with ArcSoc on the lecture events and want to continue to do that. And normally we will expand our design competition, which is primarily focused at early career architects, to also have a student element to it. We haven't launched that yet for the current one, but it is on the agenda. And then occasionally we have things like free places on our study trip that come up for students as well. And this is just the most recent. We didn't have any Building Inspiration lecture in 2020 because of the COVID restrictions, but Daniel Liebskin was the previous one in 2019. So just to kind of give you a sense of who we aspire to bring. So on to the business of today, the Professional Insights Programme, and we'll run through a few of the slides here, just setting out the sort of how today is going to work. So just to get rid of the essentials, by taking part in this program, you are agreeing to share your contact details with other contributors and attendees at this event. If anybody has a problem with that, this is the time to raise your hand, or ultimately, send an email to your tutors to say that you have a problem. If not, if you're all happy, great. We will proceed on that basis. And it's really essential to make this work so that you can get in contact with each other, and that starts the program off in many ways. So this is how it's going to run over the next few minutes. Your name will appear on screen, and along with the name of your student partner and your allocated architect. I will also read them out as best I can. I'm going to apologize in advance if my pronunciation of names isn't spot on. There's definitely a few ones that I'm not 100% sure on, so apologies in advance if I don't get it quite right. But when you see your name on screen, or when you hear it called out, please do the following. Post your name and email address in the chat window, and make a note of your student partner's details. So as I'm calling them out, you'll start to see the chat taking over as people put their names and email addresses into the chat window. Jude, I have a bad quality network sign. Am I still coming across okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, good stuff. And the final thing to make a note of, other than just your partner, is your architect that you are going to be paired with. Okay, so put your name and your email address in the chat window, make a note of your student partner's details, and make a note of your allocated architect. Very straightforward. Okay, so are we, did I see one comment come in there? Our student email, whichever email you use. So I do know that some students may not use their student email heavily, and if it's not the one that you are looking at every day, use the one that you normally use. Okay, so here we go. This is where the pairing begins, and so just look out for your name. I will run through these as quickly as I can without rushing them. Redmond O'Hanlon and Annie Haughey have been paired with Rocky Allen of Allen Curran Architects in Enniskillen. Michael Mahood and Haneen Ansala have been paired with Johnny Baird of the Construction and Procurement Delivery Unit at the Department of Finance, and that's in Belfast. Eric Varadi and Kimberly Yap have been paired with Murray Bell of Bell Architects in Ballymoney. And I'm just going to pause there just to make sure that the meeting chat is starting to tick over. It's possible that we have happened to catch a lot of people in the first ones who aren't here. But if you are here, remember to post your contact details in the chat so that your partner can pick them up. Next up is, and if anybody's unsure about how to use the chat, it's the thing that looks like the speech bubble. And I I see there's Kimberly Yap coming through. Thanks very much. And if you put your email like Haneen has, that would be perfect. Great. So Annie McClelland and David Russell have been paired with Shane Burney of Shane Burney Architects in Derry. Alana Ferry and Fintan Dalton have been paired with Seamus Burke at Consort Design in Belfast. Kitchen Watkins and Sinead Crummy have been paired with Sarah Brady of HLM Architects in Belfast. Anna Thompson and Imogen Skelton Wright have been paired with Chris Campbell of Campbell Architects in Hollywood. Danielle Reynolds and Marcus Tan paired with Gavin Campbell of White Ink Architects Belfast. Marta Borowska and Nathaniel Maher have been paired with Dominic Carson, PHP Architects Belfast. Roisin Smiley and Charlotte Henrik have been paired with Paul Crowe, Todd Architects Belfast. Adam O'Neill and Adwait Suresh have been paired with Michael Fitzpatrick at Ulster University, Belfast and Jordanstown. Joshua McAdam and Rosie Rogers paired with Sean Fury of Gravity Architects in Derry. Cara Conn and Sam McCormick have been paired with Felix Gibson of HLM Architects in Belfast. Catherine Fong and Jessica McDonough have been paired with Paul Gillespie of Bryson Architects Belfast. Orla Rafferty and Cameron McElroy are with James Grieve of Consort Design in Belfast. And I should say, just to give myself a little break from reading the list of names, that Jude has prepared the pairings in a completely random draw. So completely anonymously pulled them out of a hat effectively, just the equivalent of that. Yeah, that's just how, just let you know how we came up with the pairings, both for individuals and for the architects. Peter McQuaid and Shannon McKinney have been paired with Glenda Hall of the Education Authority in Armagh. Ethan Davies and Georgia Laverty paired with Jenny Harper of Isherwood and Ellis in Belfast. Saida Ali and Benjamin Murray paired with Michael Heron of Michael Heron Architects in Dungannon. Francesca Silvestri and Dylan O'Hanlon have been paired with James Herschel of Ready Architecture in Belfast. Tiernan O'Kane and Matthew McAllister have been paired with Simon Holland of the Education Authority in Ballymena. Chantel Foster and Darius McColgan They've been paired with Nigel Jones, of Nigel Jones Architects in Limavady. Connor Flint and Rose McKiernan, paired with Leslie Kelly of Unispace Belfast. Lars Pedersen and Ross Blackburn have been paired with Alistair Keys of Keys and Monaghan in Fermanagh. Keelan Gallagher and Yongshi Wu are paired with Kieran Mackle of Ard Mackle Architects. Tegan O'Donoghue and Elena Romanovskaya have been paired with Cathal Maguire of Milligan Reside Larkin Architects in Newry. Rory McCartney and Adam McStravick, paired with Jonathan Maguire of Ola Architects in Lurgan. Brendan McCambridge and Rose McGee have been paired with Paul McAllister of Paul McAllister Architects in Portadown. Simon McGurk and Beth Carney have been paired with Cormac McAteer of White Ink Architects. Freya Thomason and Devan Kumar have been paired with Ciara McCallion of Tracy Architects in Derry. Alvin Pinheiro and Emma Farr have been paired with Kieran McCambridge of McLean and Forte in Belfast. Rachel Scullion and Pei Chu have been paired with Aoife McGee of MMAS Architects, and that's Belfast. Ayat Al-Wazan and Malaz Mohammed have been paired with Laura McGuinness of White Ink Architects in Belfast. Hannah Douglas and Zhu T have been paired with Conor McKenna Architect, Belfast. Catherine Thorogood and Matthew Lowry, paired with Damien McLaughlin of Here Architects in Ballymoney. Jessica Shannon and Chloe Glass have been paired with Paul Miller of Hamilton Architects in Belfast. Matthew McKittrick and Leanne Burke have been paired with Bria Mongan of Gregory Architects in Belfast. Danielle Hind and Geroid Dolan have been paired with Graham Montgomery of Montgomery Irwin Architecture and Design in Coleraine. Amy Beattie and Brian Zulkarnin have been paired with Andrew O'Doherty of Todd Architects in Belfast. Niamh Sloan and James Wilson have been paired with Martin O'Kane of HMD Architects in Derry. Rachel Wallace and Shane Crilly have been paired with Sarah Pearson of ACOM in Belfast. And we have, because we have an odd number of students across both universities, we have 1-3 group, and Carl Pedersen of Malarkey Pedersen Architects has been the architect willing to take on 3. And we've got Majatul Janet, Carolina Kolodja, and Helga Bashiri are the group of 3 who are paired with Carl Pedersen. We have Emma McClenaghan and Keelan Laverty, who are paired with Brian Quinn of the Education Authority in Dungannon. Gareth Ramos and Ezra Hamido are paired with Kevin Reynolds of Ardmackle Architects in Belfast. Carla Reinhardt and Grace Hamilton are paired with Michael Rogers of Studio Rogers in Coleraine. Ashleen Fitzpatrick and Hoi Jin Kim are paired with Alan Ross of the National Trust Northern Ireland in Coleraine and Saintfield. Jake McManus and Lorcan Doherty paired with Ashleen Shannon Rusk of Studio Idir in Belfast. Anthony McCambridge and Ciara McMullen paired with Carrie Simpson of Todd Architects in Belfast. John Delaney and Swee T are paired with Richard Spence of C60 Architects in Belfast. Shanna McDermott and Mohammed Haryo are paired with Hannah Stolkova of Whitaker and Watt Architects in Belfast. Phoebe McPherson and Jake Brogan are paired with Barry Todd Architects, Hillsborough. Jack Lavery and Emily Hayes paired with Stephen Villiers of Alan Patterson Design in Bangor. David Skopinski and Dimante Kedorakaite paired with Grace Wilson of MCA Architecture in Portadown. And that is the end of the long list. I'm sure you're all delighted to hear. So what I'll do before I say what happens next is just check in if anybody missed themselves, if we missed any names, or if you didn't quite catch your partner or your partner's details or the name of your architect. Because before we go, we can do a quick sort of like check back on anybody who wants it. So the best way to do that is to use your hand raising function. Raise your hand and come on and say, yes, can you go back because I missed mine. So I'm going to let a little moment pass while we see if anybody needs to go back. I did see lots of action on the chat, so it seemed to be working. So no hands are coming up, which makes me think, oh, we've got one. Eric, would you like us to go back, Eric, to check out?
Yes, please.
Who you're paired with?
That's the architect, I forgot.
Yeah, no bother. I think Eric was quite near the start.
Aye, I was.
There you go. Murray Bell of Bell Architects.
Thank you.
Good man, Eric. Anybody else? Now that Eric has broken in there, good stuff. Freya, would you like us to find?
Yeah, please. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. Do you remember roughly where you were?
I think it was kind of middle-ish.
Middle-ish. Okay, let's go middle-ish. Yep, there we go.
Thank you.
So Devan Kumar as your partner, and then Ciara McCallion of Tracy Architects.
Fintan, did you miss yours as well?
Yeah, let's find
I
Finn.
got it when you guys were looking through it, so it's sweet.
Okay, good stuff. A bit of speed reading. I like that. We could just do really fast. Oh, Ross. Where was Ross? I think Ross was quite near the start.
Yeah, please. Thanks.
Oh, maybe not. There you go. We were so close. So that is your UU partner is Lars Pedersen, and your architect is Alistair Keys of Keys and Monaghan.
Thank you.
Fermanagh. Okay. Right, Jude, bring us back to the next steps part. Excellent, thank you. Okay, so number one, contact your student partner. And by the way, if you haven't got contact details today through this process, Jude will sort you out. So and Jude's contact details are going to go up at the end, and she's the most important part of tying all the loose ends together, or if things don't work out, Jude is your point of contact to go to. But for those of you who do have an email, send an email now just to get it in your email bank. You now have your student partner and you can make contact. So that's the first thing. If we were doing this in person, you would have actually been sent outside to actually meet in person. That's even better, but you know, it wasn't possible as it turned out. Second of all, make contact with your architect, preferably by phone. And we say that because part of this whole process is about getting into the real world, where you have to talk to people. No sort of keeping people at a distance, and emails, all of those things, they keep people at a distance. Phone calls, it's much closer to real life interaction, and then of course you'll get to meet them. So make contact with your architect, preferably by phone, by no later than the 10th of December. So that's not very far away, roughly about 2 weeks. And we'll be checking in to make sure that everybody has contacted their architect by the 10th of December. But don't feel like you have to wait until the 10th of December, anytime between now and then. And it doesn't have to be any detailed conversation. It's just that you have made contact. You've said, this is who I am. I'm pleased to have had to get the opportunity, and we'll make some plans. But just that initial contact. Wednesdays and Fridays are earmarked, and I use that word carefully, earmarked for program activity, but you don't have to use Wednesdays and Fridays. That's just what everybody knows. They quite often are the easier times to get things arranged, but feel free to go outside of that. Agree a plan with your architect and set the dates for your activities. That's the key thing. So finding a time and date for you and your architect to get together, either online or in person. And then finally, always honor your meeting times with your architect. That's not to say that things can't change. So for example, we agree that we're going to meet in 3 weeks' time. Something comes up next week, you can't make it. The important thing is to get in touch and say, look, a situation's arisen and I can't make it anymore. So this is not about anything other than decency and just letting people know. We're delighted with the response we've had from architects across Northern Ireland to this year's call out for volunteers. We have a bigger number of students this year than we have in any of the previous 3 years, and so we've had to get more architects involved, and we actually still have some in reserve, so we have more than we need ultimately, but which is a brilliant position to be in. But we're really conscious of wanting to make sure that them volunteering their time, that their experience of the whole initiative is also positive, as we hope it is for you. So then next up, are our key dates. So number one, just keep that one strong in your mind. 10th of December, initial contact with your architect to be made, and that's key. Gets the ball rolling. You don't want to let this thing drift. The 18th of February is the next sort of check-in point, which is mid-program, and we're going to have a mid-program get-together, either in person or online, not sure which, to see how you're getting on. Maybe to hear back from some of you about initial interactions that you've had. Some of you may have completed your full number of hours with your architect by then, and it'll be good just to share your experiences. So we'll give you more details on that closer to the time. And then by the 15th of April 2022, all activity is to be completed. So gives you quite a number of months to complete your engagement with your architect, and that gives a lot of flexibility for both sides. And then finally, we intend to have on the 13th of May 2022 a post-program event, and that'll be an opportunity for us all to come together and talk about any positives that have been taken from the experience, both from the architect's perspective, but also from your perspective, really importantly, and in fact, most importantly from your perspective. And we also do want to take it as an opportunity to look at things that could be improved for the next time we run the program next year. So it's not just about saying, you know, what was good, it's also about looking at how we can improve things. So that's us almost finished for today. Thanks so much for taking the time on a very unpleasant Friday afternoon with the storm coming in to log on and find out what's happening. The most important thing you can do, other than the bits that I've already mentioned, is take down Jude's contact details. So jude@rsua.org.uk. If you run into any difficulties at all in terms of getting in contact with your student that you've been paired with, or if you have any difficulty in getting in contact with the architect you've been paired with, Jude is your first port of call, and she can liaise with either the architect or with the university to get the other student in touch with you, and just generally solve all sorts of problems. So that, I think, is everything from me. Is that right, Jude? I don't have any more slides, do I?
You do not, that is it.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to hand back to Donal to just do final wrap up. But Donal, you must remember not to break the golden rule.
Okay, that was great. Thank you, Kieran. He almost caught me with. No, I would just well, first of all, I want to thank Kieran and Jude for organising all this. And before we close, I'd like to say thank you to both the Ulster University and Queen's University staff for enabling the RSUA to run the Professional Insights programme. And would also like to thank all the students for their participation in the programme. And I do hope it's a valuable learning experience for you and provides contacts, not just for this programme, but maybe for future years out or whatever. And I know that a lot of the architects enjoy the opportunity to interact with students. Some of them, like myself, for a long time since they were students, so they find it very refreshing. So that's great. Well, thank you very much, everyone. And I just say again, Jude's the linchpin for all this. So if you have any problems, contact Jude. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kieran and Jude.
Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Kieran.
everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Yes, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.